49ers coach Kyle Shanahan, 49ers general manager John Lynch spoke to the media on Wednesday, the day after the formation of their initial 53-man roster. There were some roster adjustments made on Wednesday. 49ers went to the practice field with their team and some of those players on the practice squad for their first practice since that formation of the roster, cutting down from 90 players. So a lot of the conversation during this press conference on Wednesday was about, you can guess it, Jawan Jennings. What is his status? What's the calf situation? What's the contract situation? And really not a whole lot of clarity coming from the 49ers because the situation still seems maybe as much murky for them as it is for everybody on the outside too. But what we do know, what John Lynch did say, was that Jawan Jennings did ask for a trade. He wouldn't put a timeline on it, but he said it happened a while ago. And John Lynch also made it quite clear 49ers aren't trading him. He said he asked for it and we've moved on. We're not doing that, so we're moving forward. And how the 49ers moved forward on Wednesday was by adding a couple of veteran wide receivers to their 53-man roster. Now, when the 49ers put together that initial 53-man roster, the only healthy receivers on that list were Ricky Pearsall and Sky Moore. Well, they've since added two veteran guys, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, recently released by the Seattle Seahawks, and then also Russell Gage. Now, Russell Gage Jr., who has been in camp with the 49ers and played very well in training camp. Now, he ended the preseason with an injury of his own, but the 49ers do expect him back on the field. In fact, he's back out there at practice even as we speak. So Russell Gage released one day, brought back to the next day, all procedural. But when you look at it, those four guys right now, Pearsall, Moore, Valdez-Scantling, and Russell Gage, those could be the 49ers receivers when they take the field for that season opener against the Seattle Seahawks. So the Jennings situation is this, and this is kind of one of the key quotes, I suppose, from John Lynch, is that he says both things can be true. He wants a new contract and he's got a hurt calf. So where those situations intersect, we don't know. Shanahan did say after the game on Saturday that he expects Jennings to be available to play in the game, but we simply don't know if Jennings were healthy. And if the injury persists, they'll get more imaging done on that. But if he is healthy, do the 49ers expect him to get back out there and practice without a new contract? Again, that seems kind of murky. And Lynch said that there's a lot that goes into that. He says, ideally, everybody has training camp and everybody's out there practicing. That's in a perfect world. But he's been putting in the work on the side, and they'll have to make that judgment when the time comes. He also said later that, or earlier, the first thing, I think my first question was about Jawan Jennings, and his answer was he's still working through the calf issue. He's making progress. We're kind of like everyone else, hopeful but not sure about week one. We'll proceed as such. We're looking to get the best mix out there. By that he means the best mix of 49er wide receivers out there. So 49ers wide receiving position in a lot of flux right now as they kind of wait and see what's going on with Jawan Jennings. But kind of to recap, he did ask for a trade a while back, and Lynch said that they're moving forward. They're not going to do that. So that's kind of the major takeaway from this. Earlier in the day, 49ers did re-sign Thomas Morstead as predicted, or as we had talked about. Jacob Cowing goes on injured reserve. So, yeah, Jacob Cowing's on injured reserve. Jordan Watkins has his issue with the high ankle sprain. And, of course, Jennings with his situation as well. And, of course, Brandon Ayuk. He remains, or he is put on the reserve PUP list. So his availability for the first 4 games, he's off the table for those games. Can't imagine in a million years he would play week 5 because that's a short week, no practice on a Thursday night. Maybe that we start looking at week 6 as being the first time when that window is truly open. 49ers did put together their practice squad 13 players of it at least that they announced earlier in the day. And then John Lynch did say that the 49ers added a quarterback to the practice squad, Adrian Martinez. And so you heard me say that, hey, I threw it out there. Jake Haener, could he be a possibility? Jake Haener, the Fresno State grad, goes back to the Saints, to their practice squad. But instead of the Fresno State quarterback, the 49ers get another Fresno guy from Clovis West, Adrian Martinez. He played college football 4 years at Nebraska, 1 year at Kansas State. He also played in the UFL for the Birmingham Stallions, where he was the MVP of that league and also the MVP of their championship game. So Adrian Martinez comes in on a day where the 49ers moved both Tanner Mordecai and Carter Bradley to the injured reserve list. So 49ers will have that third quarterback, but he'll be on the practice squad as they go with two quarterbacks on their 53-man roster. Jake Moody, let's get a little Jake Moody update. John Lynch acted a little bit surprised that, at least he said he was surprised that there was such negativity surrounding Jake Moody coming out of that game against the Chargers when he had the really good game against the Raiders, the game where obviously he kicked the 44-yarder to tie the game with 37 seconds left and then kicked the 59-yarder in walk-off fashion to win that game. But what he said that he really disputed any notion that there wasn't a competition during training camp. He called it an excellent competition, a true competition. And he said that Jake Moody had a really good preseason, and the 49ers still have a lot of confidence in him, but they also realize that he's got to go prove it. So what Lynch said was that they wanted that competition to continue, but because of the state of the 49ers roster, with them needing players at other positions, they felt like they had to open up that roster spot in order to bring in a position player who could then go out there and take a lot of reps because they were just so depleted in so many different spots. So Upton Stout expected back at practice. He's on target to play in this game. It sounds like Dominic Pooney is looking well. I talked about that. After watching him run in practice on Monday, it looks like he's making tremendous progress. 49ers are very optimistic that he'll be back in the lineup as well. And then a couple of other things. Well, the 13-player practice squad is interesting. And now we know Adrian Martinez will be joining that group. And the 49ers did release Evan Anderson, the defensive tackle, who initially won the roster spot over Sebastian Valdez. Now Evan Anderson is released, and that was to make room for the new defensive tackle that the 49ers claimed off waivers, Jordan Jefferson. But so I would assume that the 49ers will try to get Evan Anderson back to the practice squad if he clears waivers. So the practice squad, a little bit surprised, I guess. Eli Apple is the answer at cornerback. Boy, I really thought that they'd bring back Dallas Flowers. First off, I thought he'd make the 53-man roster. He didn't. And then he's not on the practice squad. That spot goes to Eli Apple. But Junior Bergen, the only 49ers draft pick who did not make the 53-man roster, he comes back to the practice squad. The other guys in this is in alphabetical order. It's William Bradley King. He's a defensive lineman. Derek Canteen, undrafted rookie. He's a defensive back. Veteran wide receiver Robbie Chosen. Defensive lineman Travis Gibson. Linebacker Jalen Graham. Offensive lineman Drake Nugent. He's a center, of course. Linebacker Curtis Robinson, who could see action up on game day on their 48, as the 49ers are allowed to elevate 2 practice squad players every game. Also, Malik Turner, wide receiver, Sebastian Valdez, who I talked about, Braden Willis, the tight end, and then Nick Zakel, the offensive lineman. So that's the update. Again, we're looking for some answers about Jawan Jennings and his status. Not sure we got them. Maybe we got just a little bit more confusion about where that is. Haven't heard anything else on Kendrick Bourne at this point with 2 wide receivers that they're bringing in from the outside. I think that would kind of surprise me that they would bring in another wide receiver, but I'll try to keep you posted on that. What John Lynch did say is they never stop looking for players who can make them better. And so That's what he said when I asked about any other wide receivers they're looking to bring in. So that's the quick update on this Wednesday as the 49ers for the first time hit the practice field with their 53-man roster and also darn near a full practice squad as well. So thanks for watching this video, and that is it for now.